own babies. And what you need to work for, we work to compensate our hours and hard work for money. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed you with that money in even plenty and in abundance with your husband, why do you want to go out there and work for $40,000 a year and your husband is a millionaire, leaving your two babies? And the mother influence, and again, was not grateful for the case. What happened? Divorce. Now she's not married. Very hard for her to get married with two babies. And if you want to work now, well, go work and spend your entire income on babysitting the kids and so on and so forth.
This is a live example?
Yes, yes.
So the husband was a millionaire?
Yes.
And now you mentioned the outside influence. This is where it happened. The mother-in-law was coming in?
Yes. And to your surprise, sometimes the influence of the mother-in-law or the father-in-law is to, how would I say it, air a grievance that they had in their own personal life. So sometimes the mother was really oppressed by an oppressive husband who really oppressed her and was unjust with her. So she want to retaliate subconsciously, maybe not intentionally, subconsciously, by making her daughter the dominant force in the household and really belittling the man as if he is, a doormat or something. And no real man would accept that. So what happens? Divorce. And who is the victim? Her own daughter and the children. And the daughter is the one to blame. Your mother is your mother, but your mother had her own house and her own life to apply her own ideology and her own manners in it. You are responsible for your own household, not your mother. So that was her fault, bringing that influence. And this brings me to a point where, yes, parents are sacred in Islam. It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, His messenger, and they're doing well by parents. But doing well by parents is not something that contradicts the other halal of having a good husband, having a good life, obeying the husband, obeying the guidelines of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when it comes to your role as a spouse in your own household. And you'll never find in Islam a halal that contradicts another halal. It's all complementary, it's all, a whole harmonized structure. So when people bring these contradictions, they are bringing outside influences that victimizes their own selves and their own children and their own marriage in the process.
Now, just to bring some people up to speed who didn't see the last show, we did that. Okay, and people we encourage to really know your role and your rights. So the man has to provide for the household. He has to take care of the wife, be kind to her, merciful from her. You quoted some hadith where the Prophet ﷺ said, the best among you are those who are best to their family, their wives, and I'm the best. So to try to be the best to your wife and not to be a dictator, consult with your wife. But after now the president, the CEO, someone had to lead the house. Allah, the Creator, put the man in charge. So once he makes a decision, he consults with his Lord, he does istihara, prays, and he feels this is the right thing. The woman, as we said earlier, she has to obey the husband?
She has to obey the husband, and if she has a different opinion, she needs to voice that and states. And you know what? It's not opinions as different personalities. Opinion that adheres also to the benefit of Islamic law that we talk about. So you're not going to find, if you abide by the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as a wife, and that's where your opinion is formulated according to, and the same way that you're a husband that rules and actually takes care of the household based on Islamic law, you're not going to find any contradiction. Life would be so easy.
Yeah. Now some people, just before we go to a break, some people when you say the word obey, all right, because again, the Jerry Springer Society, you ain't going to tell me what to do. So we say obey. I ain't obeying nobody. You ain't my master. So what do we mean when we say obey? This
obey
is like
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Obey the Creator.
And the husband is applying the laws and the guidelines of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and you're obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the form of your husband. If your husband asks you to steal, cheat, not pray, do something wrong, there's no obedience there. Because there's no obedience anyone in disobeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Yeah.
So you're actually obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But you're not married to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, God forbid, you're married to your husband. That's where you show the obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to him inshallah.
Let's take a break, we'll be right back with more here on The Deen Show.
He is the maintainer. He is the
If you say that you do not believe in Jesus, you have stepped outside of Islam. You cannot be a Muslim. It is a tenet of our faith to believe in and love Jesus Christ.
fighter. He is the protector.
Why is it then when it comes to one of the most important decisions in life, we literally abuse ourselves? It's not that the main thing we're looking for is to see what type of money he has so that he can treat my daughter like a princess. It's not about that.
He is the one who protects us from hunger.
back here on the Deen Show, and we're discussing family, keeping it together. We don't want it to fall apart. So knowing your roles, knowing your responsibilities, and then living up to it. So tell